Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our January Sip and Pitch. My name is Carly Specht. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm Associate Director of Affiliate Relations and External Affairs here at the NGLCC. This is our first Sip and Pitch event of 2026, and we are so excited for another great year of this event. We've made a couple of changes to the Sip and Pitch event for 2026. First, as you can see, our events will now be taking place on Thursday afternoons instead of Friday afternoons. So we're hoping this makes the event easier to attend for more people. And additionally, we previously had 3 suppliers pitch per event, and that number has now been increased to up to 5 to allow for more of our businesses the opportunity to share their business and practice their pitches. So before we get started, I also just want to take a moment to shout out our 25 affiliate chambers around the country that have partnered with us to promote our Sip and Pitch events this year. They help make these programs a success. And if you're a member of your local affiliate chamber, thank you so much for joining us here today. Now, before we get into the rules and guidelines for today's program, I'm excited to introduce our 3 incredible judges here with us today. We have Jason from KeyBank, Catherine from Barilla, and Kim from Verizon. So thank you all so much for being here, and thank you in advance for the great advice you're going to give to our presenters. Now I'll go over some of the rules and guidelines for the presentations. So first, each company has 5 minutes to pitch. I will have a timer up on my screen that will count down during each presentation, and I'll also unmute myself to remind presenters when they have 30 seconds left. Next, we'll have just one presenter from each participating company, and then after, judges will have 10 minutes for feedback and Q&A. If presenters don't have a PowerPoint, that's no problem. This program is designed to be informal to provide real-time feedback for companies' pitches. Also, a reminder to the group to please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And a reminder that this is a judgment-free zone. This program is designed to help you enhance your pitch and grow your business. So, of course, all feedback is shared in the spirit of collaboration. And lastly, and most importantly, have fun. Feel free to grab your beverage of choice and enjoy this Sip and Pitch program. All right, so to kick it off, we'll actually go to the next slide and start with Megan from US2 Consulting. So Megan, if you have a presentation, you can go ahead and start sharing.
I just requested share access. Something was shifted from
Perfect.
when
You should
we.
have it now, but let me know if you have any
Awesome.
problems.
Perfect. Are we good now?
Yep, I will start my timer when you are ready to start.
All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Megan Fucciarelli, founder and CEO or Chief Empowerment Officer of Us Squared Consulting. We are an LGBTBE, WBE, and B Corp certified leadership strategy company based in Detroit, Michigan. I go by the moniker Authenticity Amplifier, and that means I help people stop performing and start leading in ways that actually feel sustainable. The QR code that you see throughout my presentation will send you to my link tree. I will also share our company information and an exciting opportunity to get an advance copy of my next book toward the end of this presentation. Us Squared was formed as an S Corp nearly 10 years ago. We are celebrating our 10-year anniversary in May this year. However, I've personally been in this space for nearly 30 years. We truly believe that we must understand ourselves before attempting to unite society, and we follow a 3-phase process to do just this. It is through awareness, wisdom, and empowerment that we see true results. Here's what I see all the time, especially with founders and leaders. You're smart. You're capable. You're doing a lot, and yet something feels stuck. Not because you don't know enough, not because you're not working hard enough, but because everything feels important. And that's exhausting. As a small business owner myself, I can relate. When I first started my business almost 10 years ago, I had too many priorities, so many great ideas, and no idea where to start. I had no entrepreneurs in my circle to gauge my experience. My family and those closest to me consistently asked if I had found a job yet, thinking that because I left a profession where I received a steady paycheck from someone else that I must be unemployed. I had support, but not in the way I needed it. And after I got through those first couple hurdles, especially over the last couple years, I've seen people struggling with conflict, personal values not lining up with societal expectations. We've seen some organizations turn away from some of their programs aligned to diversity, while others have doubled down. Small business owners are not immune to these same decisions. If you can relate to any of these pieces, you can work through this. Most of the people I work with don't need another long term program or a binder of ideas. They need clarity, they need focus. And honestly, they need a space where they don't have to carry everything alone. That's why I created Sprint Coaching, a 4 session experience designed specifically for you. During your experience, you will identify one clear goal that is aligned with your mission as a company, and we will work together to ensure you get results. There's no shame, no woulda, shoulda, coulda, and no fluff. What is there? Alignment. Alignment with your values, alignment with your goals, alignment with your mission and vision, and most importantly, alignment with yourself. You might be asking, okay, Megan, but what exactly is sprint coaching and how is it different from all these other coaching programs I see out there? Well, first, during your onboarding call, we're going to clarify exactly what matters to you and identify what's getting in the way. We're not going to start with the actual pieces you need. We're going to start with you. We've been told that that call actually feels like a therapy session. Then, after your onboarding call, we're going to build a plan that fits your real life, not an idealized version of it. We'll share that plan and use it as our guiding light throughout the 4 sessions. Ultimately, our goal is to finish one project on your list, create momentum that you can actually continue. You can sustain growth and success, and we want to give you the tools and support to be able to do this. If you're looking to build something meaningful and you need support, you aren't alone. If you're ready to take action and moving forward and not just thinking about moving forward, let's take action together. We've helped over 50 solopreneurs and small business owners with success ranging from a 200% increase in revenue to new product launches, streamlined operations, and clear values communicated amongst the team. If you're successful on paper, but you're craving clarity, confidence, or direction, this is for you. You deserve success, and only you can define that success. I believe clarity changes everything. When you're clear, decisions get to be easier, boundaries get stronger, and leadership feels less heavy. If
30
something
seconds.
I shared resonates, even just a little, I'd love to connect. Sprint coaching isn't about fixing you, it's about helping you move forward on purpose. In addition to the QR code for updates regarding my next book, which you see on the screen here, I've also included our company Linktree link on this page to access our calendar link, social media handles, and websites. Remember, it's up to you to be the change that is needed in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Megan. Great job. I love your timeliness. That was pretty much exactly on the 5 minute dot, which was very impressive. I will go ahead and turn it over to our judges now for their feedback. And I'll start with Jason.
Hey, thanks, Carly and Megan. Great job. I really appreciate the depth on this. I try to look at all these opportunities, right, in sort of the format where we always look at things, providing some positive feedback for every, piece of constructive feedback. So I do like that you did go into the differentiation. I find that when working with suppliers, whether large, small, or otherwise, the one thing that they sometimes neglect is what differentiates you from your competitors in this space, because that's really what, at least for myself, in my role and in a larger organization, that is the thing that our leaders are looking for: is where is the ROI for us in an organization. So I appreciate you touching on that, as well as a little bit later in your presentation touching on your target demographic, because that's one of the questions I had early on is, who would you work with in large organizations, or is this targeted just towards small organization or entrepreneurs? So maybe touching on that a little bit sooner in there. And then the other thing I noted is you mentioned your 4 sessions, but really no timeline around those 4 sessions, right? So how long would it take to get through those 4 sessions? How frequently do you meet to do them? What is the objective? And then maybe homework for the individual that you're working with, of just so they understand how lengthy of a process is the 4 sessions. So maybe just meets the expectations or questions they may have up front. But other than that, I really appreciate you did an excellent job.
Thank you for that feedback, Jason.
Thank you so much, Jason. Catherine. Oh, Catherine, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Um, Very, very well done, Megan. It was really impressive to see. I think the fact that you incorporated your story behind it, it really drew people in wanting to pay attention to what you had to say. And I thought that was really great. And I do also want to state, I think the use of the QR code on your presentation and all the slides is fantastic, especially when you're talking to multiple people. You can have them researching you at the same time and listening to what you have to say. So I think you did an excellent job in presenting yourself and your company today. So yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Catherine and Kim.
Thank you, Megan, so much. I remember seeing your presentation at the NGLCC conference. I actually sat in on your session. So I will say that I love I do think you have a calming voice that I do like. And one of the biggest things that I try to do when I go out and meet people is to make it more of a conversation. And when I saw you in person, you walked the room, you commanded our attention, and I would love to see that in your virtual presence, right? You could kind of tell that you were reading, and that's okay. I get it. You got a script that you got to get out. Again, I remember you because you walked the room. You commanded our attention. You know this. You know this. You know it like the back of your hand. So stand on that. And at the end of the day, we're all people. Talk to us like people, and it's your story. You have like magnificent history and so much wisdom behind you to share. So just keep doing that and just be your most authentic self. You've done a great job. I definitely second the QR codes because a lot of times you see it one or two times and it goes away so quickly, right? So we're like having it as available as you can. That is absolutely awesome. Giving people an opportunity to connect with you, whether they can do it now or later. You've done a really good job. I love your colors. And I think that's the one thing I remember too, because you also had your swag and everything on the table. So you've done a great job. Your energy, you just have a very like commanding but like calm presence. And I do appreciate that about you.
Thank you. And the purple stands through, right? You remember me
It
as the purple
does.
lady.
It definitely does.
Thank you so much, Kim. And I think, yeah, that's a testament to your presentation skills, Megan, that we remember you months later.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
I
much,
appreciate that.
Megan. That was great. And now we will go to our next presenter, which will be Mark from Media Advisory Experts. So, Mark, if you have a presentation you're going to be using, you can go ahead and start sharing whenever you are ready.
Great. And I'm actually going to share in a second. I'm trying to maximize your screen so I can see the counter. I wasn't able to see it during Megan's presentation. So it's on your screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think I got you.
Awesome.
So let me start with the very last thing that I'm going to say. And that's this. Everybody has a story, and you are not doing enough to tell yours. Have you ever noticed that in the news media or speaking events, often journalists and bookers will use the same experts over and over again? Same doctor on Good Morning America, no matter the illness, the same lawyer opining on Supreme Court decisions, whether it's about immigration law or water rights in the West. Why is this? Well, I know from my 25 years on television news experience, including as a correspondent at CBS News and also leading a national investigative unit, that it's because journalists do not have the time or the resources anymore to find new experts. So when they have one that will answer the phone, always be available, and be a soundbite machine, they will call that person over and over. Unfortunately, the audience loses. The audience loses. The audience benefits from a diversity of voices. And I mean diversity in every sense of the word: income, industry, geography, education, all of it. And so what we do at our company, we train people in how to tell their story, their origin story, their TED-like talk, media training, storytelling, anatomy of an answer, leadership communications, whether you are in a company of 2 people or 20,000. It's vital that you know how to tell your story, whether it's in the boardroom, whether it's for journalists in the news media, whether it's speaking in front of 10,000 people at NGLCC. Maybe we'll get to 10,000 people this year, right? And understanding how the media works means you don't need to spend $20,000 on an expensive PR firm. You don't need a speakers bureau, but many people do, especially small entrepreneurs. That prevents them from getting their story out into the news media. They don't know that it's possible. And I'm here with my background in journalism and now doing media training, public speaking, leadership communications to tell you that your experience, whether in healthcare, real estate, law, gardening, whatever it happens to be, there is a journalist today looking for you. Here's the secret. Every single day in America, in every newsroom in America, journalists are looking for experts. And you know what else is happening? Every single day in every community in America, experts are looking for journalists. We bring the two together. We do this through our 2 or 3 day boot camps at a real TV studio near the White House. Everyone goes on camera with me in a mock newscast. Everyone goes doing a podcast with our national public radio host. And everyone goes on stage, not to give a speech, but their greatest hits, coached by the TED Talk coach to the stars himself. And we have a 10-week online course that meets twice weekly for live group coaching office hours. And once you take one of those, we will help you with our Catalyst PR Plus service. Not a traditional PR firm. We will do it with you. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from the clients we've helped tell their story.
But I remember you specifically saying, both of you, we're not going to let you fail. Yes. And so I said, okay, I'm in good hands. You took the time to make us feel comfortable. You took the time to make us do it the best way possible.
I remember when you did this the first time, I said, please do a second one.
You made it worth every single solitary penny. You brought it home.
What I love and noticed is the perfection of diversity in your room, just like it was months ago when you did the first one. The fact that there are people from all over the world, not just all over the country. Yeah. You attract the best. You know why? Because you are the best.
Aww. It's relit the spark in me that I had lost, and I'm very, very appreciative because now I have this hunger in me to just want to get out and speak to anyone who will listen.
Everyone who interacted with us here has been simply amazing and generous. Yes. Like truly, truly generous with who you are and what you have to offer to us.
Just the way you're able to put somebody at ease to come into that room, that was amazing.
This whole experience, trying not to cry, I've made so many human connections, and I'm so very grateful. I can't really tell you how much you have changed my life in this past couple of days.
Thank you so much for seeing us and for really bringing out the best in us.
That is transformation.
And so that's why I started by saying everybody has a story. Every single person, every one of you has a story, and you are not doing enough to tell it. Tell your story today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Great job. Those were such great testimonials, and I could see you smiling through them also, even though I'm sure you've seen this video a million times, so that's really touching. And I'll turn it over to our judges now to kick us off, and this time we'll start with Catherine.
Great job, Mark. At first, I was like, he sounds like he's on the news, and then when you said it, I was like, it makes complete sense. I like that you incorporated that into it too. I do love the touch of the video. It was perfect to kind of show actual voices, hearing what they had to say about you. I would say that I would like to see a little bit more of details on your process, like the process that you take with your clients, with the different firms, or however it is that you start it. I think this would give me a little bit more detail in like, oh, okay, how can he work for me? How can he work for this type of company? So I would just say add a little bit more detail on your process, and I think you have great, because you definitely command attention. That's a given. So other than that, that's my feedback. I think it was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. Kim?
Mark, thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presentation. I like that you made it about you, but then you made it about other people. I always say in this game of trying to get into the world of contracting, it's a long-term game, right? And you grab my attention, and it makes me want to follow up and build a relationship over time to see what it is that you have to offer and how we can apply that internally, right, to what we have. So I really appreciated it. Sometimes we do look at presentations, but it is nice to have the different media to look at to see different other people talking about you and allowing your work to speak for you. So you definitely did a great job there. If I had to say any feedback, a QR code or some sort of way to connect to you at the end or even throughout would be very helpful so that we already have it plugged away. But you did a really great job keeping us engaged from the beginning and just being your genuine self. You could definitely see that come through when you spoke and when people spoke about you. So you did a good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Kim and Jason.
Yeah. Mark, excellent. I like to echo what everyone had to say. Great presentation. You really did have my attention from the beginning. The one thing that resonated with me right from the start is when you talked about storytelling. A lot of the work that we do right now, especially those of us who are in, what we would say the former DE&I world or supplier diversity or inclusive sourcing, whatever term you're using, is the reason you use storytelling is it's becoming a little bit harder for us to tell our story with the work that we're doing because the traditional metrics that we've used to measure this work are no longer applicable in most cases. So the fact that you went to there, that's something that I'm keenly focused on. So that immediately grabbed my attention. And also the fact that you talked about the size of the organizations you work with, right? From 2 people to 20,000 people. And I think that covers a very large spectrum of the people you'd be working with. Also love the testimonials, right? You could see the emotion in people's voices talking about the transformational process they went through in working with you. I would say, a couple of the things that Kim and Catherine would have said, right? How to contact yourself. That was the one question I had is, this is amazing. I'd love to talk to Mark later. But how would I reach Mark? I have no idea right now, right? There's not an email or a QR code or anything like that. And I'm sure in a much larger presentation, if you're working with someone individually, they probably would get to that piece. But that kind of left me just wondering. And then as Catherine mentioned, the process. So again, what is the timeline? You mentioned things in Washington, travel and expense are not what they used to be. So is it either in person or virtual, or does it have to be both? And then maybe what career level of the individual you be working with? Because in my world, mostly just the CEO is the one that talks on the news. But I think the program would be valuable. It's just typically, what is the audience that you'd be working with?
Perfect.
Otherwise, it's amazing. You really did captivate my attention. I could immediately tell that you've been on the news before as well. So,
well, thank you, sir. And just to answer your question, I put my email just for you in the chat.
See it. Thanks, Mark.
Mark, you can also feel free to use this opportunity to expand a little bit about the program timeline or anything else kind of that Jason mentioned, wanting more information on too.
Sure. Well, I don't want to let any question go unanswered. So the in-person boot camp is at a TV studio in DC. We have scoped out studios in LA and San Francisco. We had somebody at Uber said they're not wasting a whole day to come to the East Coast. So we are thinking about that. The online course, though, is 10 weeks. We give people 16 weeks to complete it. And we have twice a week live coaching office hours, me and my co-coaches. And so people do video modules every week. One is creating your TED-like talk. One is creating your origin story. One is creating your sound bites, et cetera, how to pitch the media or speaking engagements. And so they do the action items, they bring them to office hours, and then we workshop them, and then they can move on to the next week. The Catalyst PR service, that's virtual, right? We want to know where you are, and we're going to find media or speaking gigs, whatever market or region you happen to be in. Those are our 3 main verticals, and then we do government contracting. My company was the only company in America hired last year for the U.S. Marine Corps to get the media coverage for their 250th birthday. That was a big contract for us. We did that all year long. So we are definitely looking to do more contracting with companies, organizations, and government agencies.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Mark, and thank you to our judges. Next up, we're going to have Tom from 25K LLC. So Tom, you can go ahead and get ready to present. You can go ahead and share your screen whenever you're ready, and I will start my timer once you get started.
Thank you. Find my Sure, I'm on my first slide. That's helpful, isn't it? There we go. Good. Hey, everybody, I'm Tom Islinger. I'm an artist and an art director. I have a little studio called 25K. I do advertising that pays for my art practice. And I'm going to talk to you about my art practice today and my custom art practice, in fact. So, with my custom art practice, I work with clients to transform your space into a one-of-a-kind experience. I build visual conversations from the culture we grew up in. And the way that I make these collages is I use vintage album covers, I use board games, I use stickers. I create a lot of the stickers, they're customized, and I use song lyrics, poetry, phrases that people bring to me, um, poems that people write themselves. And these custom collage works can go anywhere. I work basic, I say that I can work any size, any shape, anywhere. And I'm going to show you a whole bunch of work today to give you an example and hope I prove that to you. Because there's some odd and wonderful things I'm going to show you. So here's my process. Unlike a lot of artists, there are a lot of artists that collaborate in this space. Unlike a lot of them, my entire process is based on collaboration. So my clients come to me with an idea of what they want. So my work is around music. My work is around joy, happiness. It's very bright, very loud, and it's all around the pop culture. So they will come to me and say, my favorite song is this, or I want a gift for this person, or I have a wall in my house, or I want a certain thing. So if we start over on the left-hand side, they've got an idea. And what I will do is we meet. So it's a Zoom meeting if they're in Chicago or in New York. I work out of New York as well. Meet in person. I do a very short proposal to show them what I'm thinking and how I'm translating that vision. From there, I will price it and I will get 50% of the fee. I do regular check-ins as we go along. I also shoot video and still images of the entire process as I'm going through. I'll do a last review of the work when it's about 80% finished in case there's any other tweaks. Then I will take pictures of the final thing, ship it to them, and then I'm paid my final fee. The reason I take pictures all the way through is that I will ship you basically a movie of what it looks like when your work is finished. So let's just get into the work. So I make lots of objects. These are all boxes that I've made for people over the years that people will request. I want a box for my jewelry. I want a box to keep things in. I want a tray to keep my watch in. This was an interior designer that wanted votive candles for one of her clients. These are custom iPad cases and cases for laptops. Again, this is the same process. They told me about things that they liked, and then I made custom stickers for it and built them. This was a commission that a client made, and this was the lyric from a Coldplay song they liked. And then what I did is around the corners, I incorporated all of the zodiac symbols. Sorry, I just got over a cold. All the zodiac symbols from the family to build into it with the stars. Joy to the World, this was somebody who was obviously really into the 60s. So I built this out. There are little Easter eggs hidden all through here of things that brought her a lot of joy when she was a kid growing up in the 60s. This is a Talking Heads fan. This has pictures of his dogs, his family, his mother, everything hidden throughout here. These are all about 4 feet wide. This was a commission from a wife. This was to her husband. It was a surprise birthday gift, something I just finished a few days ago. Somebody who wanted something. They sent me all their favorite albums from the 80s. I made it into a collage, another collage. This was a stage setting that I built for a show here in Chicago. This was a dog statue that I wrapped for someone, and I think my time is up.
Thank you so much, Tom. Those were beautiful. It was so cool to hear you talk about your business and then get to see everything afterwards. But I'll leave the rest of the feedback to the judges. And we will start with Kim this time.
Hey, so let me say amazing work. I know you said you just got out of a cold, and I know before you were saying that you are in Illinois, you had the lake effect weather. So I grew up in Cleveland, so I know what that's like. But I love your work. It is unique. It pulls people in. It causes you to definitely take a look at it and focus on it, because there's so much to see, and so much to discover, and probably keep discovering, probably looking at it from various angles and whatnot. I love in the beginning how you have the transparency of how your process works. Very upfront. It takes the guessing out of it, because when I'm looking into services and whatnot, I'm like, tell me what I can expect. And you did that right up front, and I can appreciate that very much so. I The work is unique. Keep being you. My only feedback is, again, I know you're getting over a cold. I'm sure you have those times like when you're like super excited, like I just did this. I want to see your excitement. Show me your excitement and let it come through your screen. Like you did this. Like no one else. No, I mean they can copy or whatever else, but this is amazing work, right? And I want to see that through the screen. I want to hear it in your voice and your tone. And again, I know you're getting over a cold, but you've done a great job. I love the upfront like process, and just a way to for us to get in contact with you, just so we have that throughout it. Like put whatever if you have a like signature or something, because you are an artist, like make that a part of like a QR code or something, so it's unique to you. And I can guarantee you, I haven't seen that either. So make it into artwork and make it your own, would be my suggestion, because you have really good work here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kim.
Thank you so much, Kim. Jason?
Yeah, Tom, as someone who, does a little bit of side hustle with people in the music industry and all in pop culture, like this stuff was awesome. It really resonated with me and kept my attention. Just seeing some of the lyrics and the albums of things that excite me, or even some of the stickers and other things that were just on the video that was playing. So really grabbed my attention from the beginning. So I appreciated that. Couple of the things that, I would talk about a little bit, right? You mentioned getting over the cold. I know that this is powerful art. I know you've got that energy, right? So similar to that, I know Kim just mentioned it, right? Seeing that passion come through as you're talking about this. Also, like, we respect the fact that it is that time of year. You mentioned you're on the other side of the Great Lakes. It's just not, it's a cold time of year, and we all want to be somewhere warmer. So same thing, contact information. I love Kim's idea of building like a customized QR code. It's something I've even done for people to get in contact with me. I've got a QR code that gets people to me at the bank on the back of my business cards. So if you could make something out of your collages, that would be a potential QR code. That would be amazing. And it would go with the theme of what you're trying to accomplish. You talked about, your timeline, at least like from your beginning to the end of the process, but like how long does that timeline take, right? I know it's dependent probably on the size of the project, but just some estimates in there so people know what to expect, especially if they're ordering. Like in our world, this might be something we would do like as a corporate gift for somebody. It might not be something that we would offer, like on a company store or something like that, right? Branding. But like if we wanted to order someone a gift that we know at the bank really was into music, pop culture, whatever it was, what would that timeline look like? So we could have the advanced timeline to order something. So that start to finish. And then I'm assuming a lot of these gifts are for individuals, but if there was like an example of some of the clients or folks that you may have worked with, especially if you've done it like in the corporate world and not just doing personalized type things, it's always helpful for us. I know this is more of a particular like niche type thing for somebody, and so, but it would be good to understand, like, I've made things like this for X, Y, and Z, or it would just help me in understanding what would the target audience be for something like this. Besides, if I had a coworker who I'm like, this would be the most amazing gift for them ever.
Thanks, Jason.
But otherwise, like, again, I love what you've done here. It really stands out with just some really nice artwork incorporating things that I'm passionate about. So I was really glued into what you were doing.
Thanks, Jason. And Tom, you can also feel free to answer any of those questions if
Yeah.
you want on timeline. Of course, I'm sure it varies from project to project.
Okay, cool.
Timeline, any clients, anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, the timeline stuff, it is really the biggest. When I work with a client, because sticker shock sometimes will throw them off. And so what I will do is up front ask them where's your head for how much you want to spend
Sure.
right away, because if it's a really small amount, what I do is I have a standard 12-inch size, and I will push them to the 12-inch size rather than have them go and be having really gnashing over something that's going to cost a lot of money, because I've found that people, that if you try to push them into a higher price point, that occasionally they're like, oh, I wish I hadn't done this, rather than going whoa, about the artwork. And if I mean, I was in advertising for 30 years, so if somebody says I need it tomorrow, I can make it pretty quick. But
Sure.
Generally it's 2 months for something that's 4 feet, 2 weeks for something that's 12 inches. So
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And that's helpful. And again, I always want to be respectful, as I mentioned to the other presenters. I know this was a 5-minute condensed timeline. And typically, I would imagine if you had a half an hour or an hour with one of us, some of these things would be addressed. But I'm just thinking, like, if I call it the elevator pitch, right? If I'm riding in an elevator with somebody at work, there's things that I want to know before I walk out of that elevator. So that's the reason I ask. But otherwise, no, that's helpful at all. But again, just being very respectful of knowing that we're in a condensed timeline for this.
cool.
Thanks, Jason. And Catherine.
Sorry. Kim and Jason, they both basically said everything I had to say here, literally. But I'll just, I'll reiterate what I want to make sure to capture. You do have some amazing samples, and I feel like the work speaks for itself. And just to kind of help along your presentation, a lot of the stuff that you were saying up front before we actually got to see the work, you could have also been saying that as you were showcasing the work. Because I wanted to keep seeing more, and I know you were running short on time, but your work is very like it grabs people's attention. Like you don't see that. It's super unique. And you want to kind of show more. You did mention about the prices being in ranges because of size. Maybe you don't, you might not want to put an actual dollar amount, but you can just say like for more economical ranges, you're looking at a size of four. I forgot what size you said, but you can just kind of give that idea so people can know what they're thinking. Oh, okay, because I can look at it and be like, yeah, I want a whole wall full of this. But then if I see the range, I'm like, all right, let me go down a little bit.
Right.
So you can add some of that. And then also like if you had some sort of online store that you can sell some of the stuff that you've currently done, I think it would be great to see on there as well. And like the other points that they mentioned, contact info would be really good to see on there, especially seeing the stuff like you want people to want to buy your things, so you need to make sure you have that there. But I thought the having the process that I could see it physically, I thought was great. Because I can visually say, okay, well, if I start this, maybe it'll be roughly about this long it'll take. Obviously, afterwards, getting clarification from you. So like Jason said, these are just quick things that you want people to know so that they can come back and ask for more.
Yeah, totally. That's a cool idea. So it could be something like this starts at $500, this starts at $400, something like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
my last slide has my website and everything on it. And
Okay.
I do sell all the 12-inch stuff on the store. So
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to know.
Yeah. And the
then,
QR code can take you directly to the store, point of purchase.
exactly.
I know
Tom, the
I'm
one other
totally
thing
ripping off that. Oh,
Yeah, the
go
one
ahead.
other thing I thought about as we were kind of talking about this, right? I know you mentioned bringing things to life for people based on their interests. And
Hmm.
so just kind of putting the corporate spin on it. Have you ever made anything for companies, right? Using their logo and branding or their mission and values or things like that that are important to them, maybe the communities they operate in. So if like a company for us, KeyBank's headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio, we have offices, but just thinking of something like that, that would be another way in the door to use your skill set with logos and brandings that exist and maybe making company specific things around your passion as well. And it just might be and you may have done this already. I was just thinking out loud of another way to differentiate yourself from someone who does office art, because I think
Yep.
that's we're always looking for unique things in the office spaces,
Yep.
because otherwise they just become very bland and boring if you're looking at the
Yeah.
same paintings in every building that we own.
Yeah, I have done the mission statement for for an ad agency, not one I work
Okay.
for, but
Perfect.
I can't show it.
No, understandable, right? Yeah, there's always confidentiality. I was just thinking out loud of,
Like the user
for
stories. Yeah.
yeah, for larger
Like,
companies, right? These might
mhm.
be something we'd be interested in learning more about, or
Yeah.
because we've even thought about here at the bank, and I'll have to, reconvene with some of my partners, but is there a way to put like specific artwork up in locations that is consistent with, you know, um, creators in those areas. So not just
Mhm.
again using a standard artwork, but if we're ordering something for where I am in Buffalo, is there a Buffalo artist who makes these things, or Cleveland, or other
Yeah.
cities, right? How can we bring forward something that's just basically let you know where you are rather than just basic bland company paintings that you see everywhere.
I could do um, Rick James
I
for Buffalo.
love it. I love it.
Mary Jane girls.
There's a place I go to, and they're named Electric City after Rick James. So
That's cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again,
Great.
Tom, and
yeah,
thank you so much,
Yes.
Judges. Great
Yeah,
feedback.
thanks for all that
yeah.
feedback.
All right, and next we have Steve from Bespoke Placement Group. So Steve, whenever you're ready, if you have slides you're going to be using, you can go ahead and start sharing.
I still need a moment. That was so phenomenal. Like looking at all the
Right?
slides. So I'm grateful for
Sometimes
getting
we
a
need a
chance to
second
learn
to
that today.
absorb between the pitches.
Absolutely. So welcome everybody. Really excited to tell you about Bespoke Placement Group today. We're a tailored talent solution for clients that are on their hiring journey. Bespoke is a boutique recruiting firm specializing in high complexity placements across the nation. We move beyond the resume to understand the human need in every hire. We have a lot of different specializations, including sales, marketing, operations, HR, finance, engineering, and technology. Our approach is quality over quantity, making sure that we're delivering precision matches that meet our client partners' needs. We do this by three avenues. Number one, we look to bridge the gap by connecting rigorous technical requirements with those crucial cultural fits that ensure long-term retention. We take a candidate-first approach by being respectful and engagement focused. We approach that way to attack passive top-tier talent. We also use a direct client model, working directly with our leadership and our client partners' leaderships to ensure accountability, speed, and clear communication. We're also a proponent for inclusivity. We don't just source, we look to debias those hiring funnels. By leveraging diverse networks and rewriting roles with inclusionary language, we work to strip away those systematic barriers that often take out people that don't look like me, that are of other walks of life. We look to bring those people into the process as well. The goal is to bring the most talented individuals to the interview table, regardless of their background. Here at Bespoke, we're proud to be an NGLCC certified business, and we leverage that to help corporate partners meet their diversity spend goals while also delivering top tier executive and niche search results that drive business results. Our team as well is certified in inclusionary sourcing strategies that look to identify talent in underutilized and overlooked networks. Again, ensuring a dignified and equitable candidate experience that protects both you and your employer brand. One of our service pillars is a subscription talent pipeline. We look to be proactive and steady with our client partners. And so instead of reacting to vacancies and instead of being overwhelmed by unqualified candidates, our subscription model helps build a steady, reliable flow of qualified and vetted candidates for those challenging roles that have turnover. That's a huge benefit to our client partners. It ensures business continuity and it drastically reduces both the stress and cost of emergency hiring. We also handle niche role placements. We're all about finding that needle in the haystack. Often generalist agencies fail when role requirements get specific, but for us, we specialize on zeroing in on unique skills, rare certifications, and specific industry experience for hard to fill positions. We speak the technical language of you and your hiring managers, ensuring that no time is wasted on unqualified resumes or unqualified candidates. We also offer executive and leadership searches. We conduct discrete, confidential searches for C-suite and for functional leaders. Our focus is on finding individuals who possess that perfect balance of high-level strategic vision and the ability to drive hands-on execution. We understand that leadership placement affects the entire organizational culture, and so we work closely with leadership to understand what that vision and value and that direction that our client partners need to take. A couple of proven metrics for you for our success. We boast a 97% retention rate. Our customized bespoke approach works to ensure that candidates stay and thrive. We also are very proud of our 68% reduction in time to fill, creating faster hiring cycles for key clients. A couple of our success stories in the startup space. We partnered recently with a CPG client in food and beverage, helping to scale their workforce from 35 to 51 employees within a 3-month span for a plant-based milk alternative company. Thank you. We also recently worked with an automation client, helping to support a revenue jump from 50 to 65 million within 9 months through one strategic business development placement. So grateful for your time today. I'd love to direct you to my contact information. Let's connect and talk.
Thank you so much, Steve. Great job. And wow, everyone today is doing such a great job with coming right in under the 5-minute mark, which is very impressive. So I will turn it over to our judges for some feedback now. And I will start with Jason.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, great job. Excellent work on working through your presentation, talking a little bit about some of the areas that you work with, right? C-suite placement, having your contact information, ways to find you, where you're located at the end. Couple of things. I work in the staffing space a lot. Like that's probably the number one phone call that we get. And so just knowing that I've worked in there, just maybe a couple areas that would help you avoid some of the pitfalls that others would pay. Like, so for example, like what is the return on investment or the differentiator for you versus some of the other staffing firms? You mentioned C-suite placement, but what else is there? Is it more just filling one-offs or internal roles, or are you a full managed service provider or MSP for staffing type purposes? Maybe touching on those areas a little bit, along with maybe some of the examples of clients or industries that you've worked with, because every industry is different. And,
absolutely,
myself in financial services, right? It's a unique, there's a lot of hoops that people need to jump through from like a risk perspective in cybersecurity. So just knowing what industries you work with, it helps us better understand where to direct conversations for next steps. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I always want to be respectful. This is a short point in time. We only had 5 minutes. So, but those would probably be the things, just because this is an area I spend a lot of time in, that I would look at where you could take your already great presentation and move it up to the next level.
Thank you so much. That's really great feedback.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you so much, Jason. Catherine?
Hi, Steve. Great presentation. I do want to say, I know that you kind of skipped through that last slide to get your contact info. I think that that was great though, because when you're in that elevator, you're also reading the person you're talking. And so if you see that you're going to lose them, you need to quickly give them the information that they need, which is your contact info. So I think you did really well there to just kind of skip over. How the other stuff I wanted to touch on, I did like how you included the benefits of working with you, especially to a company, why it would be beneficial for us, what we're getting out of it, out of the partnership. I thought that was really great. I also thought that a lot of the words that you chose were very purposeful, which helped catch my attention and want to listen more. I did think some of the slides were a little wordy, like you could have condensed it a little bit more just to keep that attention span going. Because sometimes when there's so much to read and you want to like listen at the same time, it can be distracting. So maybe a couple more on some of those slides where they were a little bit more wordy, have pictures, testimonials, to talk about the work that you've done. But other than that, great, great presentation, and yeah, I look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you so much. That's phenomenal feedback as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Catherine. And Kim.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I appreciate it. I think the one thing that you have a nice cadence about your voice. I don't know if that sounds weird or whatnot, but you have a flow and a rhythm to your voice. And I will say, so one thing you read off of your slides, right? And because we can read along with you, but you know this, right? Tell your story up front. You know this already. You can hear it in your voice from the cadence that I was like following with your voice. So you have it to bring it in. It's very personable, and that helps bring it in a bit more. And as echoing what Catherine said, a little less wordy, because we look at presentations a lot of times, and then as Jason said as well, a lot of times we are inundated with staffing, right? So work on the things that really make you stand out and differentiate you from the competition, because that is a space that is very, very difficult to kind of break through and get into. And you have the personality, so stand on your personality, because it all again starts with the relationship and how you connect to people. I like that you definitely put in your success stories. And then I like that your location is in Michigan. And I guess this is feedback from everyone. Tell us what like your scope is across the states or globally, right? Because a lot of times we're looking for people, especially with large corporations, who can work in, various places. Midwest is a big territory as well, but we're looking to know where else you are. But you have a good story. I was looking at a little bit of like your niches and whatnot, and you do have some very powerful areas. So speak to those, because that's what companies are looking to get to, like the meat and potatoes. Like tell me what it is that you do. What is that meat and potatoes? Because a lot of times when you talk to like us, kind of like front line, we're your first line of contact, and we have to then sell you internally. So by starting that relationship with us, and again, you have a good cadence in your voice, and you bring in that conversation, it'll help to elongate the relationship so that we can work back internally for opportunities with you.
That's really good feedback. I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Kim.
And
Great.
I'll keep talking as well.
Thank you so much again, Steve. Great job. And thank you, judges. Now, judges, I'm going to give you all the opportunity to just give any last feedback here to the presenters in general. I know we heard some recurring feedback, like making sure we know how to contact you and things like that. So if you have any parting wisdom for our presenters, I'll turn it over to you one last time before we get into a little bit of communities and conversation. So for that, I'll start with Catherine.
It was really great to hear from all of you guys. I don't stop here. Take the feedback that we've given you, and just perfect it. Those 5 minutes are always going to be changing, because your audience is always going to be changing.
Yeah.
So do you want to make sure that you keep that in mind, and just do your homework before you get to that certain person that you want to relay your information, get that business deal going with, so that you can be purposeful in those 5 minutes that you get. And it's sad that it's just 5 minutes, but sometimes that's all you get. So you want to really make sure that you get that first and lasting impression where you want them wanting more. So that's my final thoughts.
Thanks for that, Catherine. Any parting wisdom, Kim?
Oh, I think you all did a great job, and I definitely urge you, just like Catherine said, to keep going, take the feedback. To take that even further, we live in a technology age where AI is a very powerful tool, and the great thing is you guys have the experience and the wisdom behind it to allow AI to help pivot you even further in your goals and where you're trying to go. So, again, like Catherine said, research your audience because it will change. So wherever you're going, just like have something general and then have something that's targeted towards wherever you're going. But allow AI to help you so you're not like trying to rack your head because it will help you open your brain even more to expand on like other further reach that will help you expand. Another thing, and this is just me talking because I know that we've had this whole like political climate change and we have the world has moved from diversity over to small business, but it's still the same work, but it's changed, but it's still the same, if that makes sense. I'm sure you guys all know that. So I would urge you to, while you all have your certifications too, speak to that you all are small as well, because I know that's something that NGLCC supports as well. So if you're not only diverse, whatever, I know I saw WeBank, I saw NGLCC, speak to those, but also speak to being small or entrepreneur and how you can leverage that to get in spaces so you can expand your reach.
Thank you so much, Kim. Great advice there. And Jason.
Yeah, I would echo a few of the things that Kim and Catherine have spoken about. Contact information is always important. Lead with that. Kim brought up a great point, right? In the way that this industry is moving a little bit, kind of hearing feedback from other peers in the industry that more firms are leading with their skills rather than certification. I think the certification is important. So as Kim mentioned, if you are a small business, and I know it's probably upwards of 90% of most of the what would be the traditional diverse businesses are also small businesses. So make sure you include that in there. But some companies may be turned off by the certifications now, or just because they've got a mandate right from above to not pay attention to those things. The work still matters, and that's why we're here working with all of you today. So if we didn't believe in it, we wouldn't be here. So, but leading with the skills, supplementing it with the certifications, talking as we mentioned at the end, as Kim did, right? Scalability, the industries that you work with, and then I really like how Kim weaved in the AI conversation. I'll be honest, I use it with my presentations. I use it with writing my annual review. Take your presentation and utilize those resources so that you can tailor them to the industries and the people that you're meeting with. Because that's really what people are going to ask, and that's what I ask. This is all well and good, but what does this mean for financial services? Because that's what people want to know. We're proud of the work you're doing with other industries, but if you want to get your foot in the door here, they want to know how you've worked with financial services companies and how you can differentiate things. But again, yeah, keep your head down and keep moving. This was amazing work. You've already have the shell of something great, and let's just take it to the next level.
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you to all three of you. And Catherine, I see you have your hand up. You can go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to touch on one last thing that both Jason and Kim said. The use of the AI technology, definitely use it. It can be one of the greatest tools that you will ever use, but always do remember to keep the your humanity in it, so that way it comes off as genuine and not something that it's like, oh, I think I've heard that saying before on Chat GPT or whatever the case is. You still want it to sound like it's you and that it has that human capability behind it. But it is a very good tool that you can help, especially when you have to use it to target specific audiences and maybe to help you condense your time with what you really want to say. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know we've all gotten emails that we can tell were written by ChatGPT, so it is so important to keep the humanity in there too. And thank you all for that great advice and inspiration, not just for our presenters today, but for the other business owners on the call too. And now we have just a little bit of time left over here because one of our presenters was not able to attend last minute. So we're going to have a little bit of time for community and conversation. So what we like to do is breakout groups that are about 10 minutes per round. We're just going to do one here today. So Lily's going to get those breakout groups set up. And when you get to those, you can feel free to branch out from this topic if you want, but just start off by sharing your name, business or company, pronouns, and share one professional goal that you have for 2026 to kick off the conversation. So that'll pop up on your screen in just a second to join that group. And then you can click to join, and we will bring you back in here in about 10 minutes to close it out.